Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans, college football playoff fans, Ohio State fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with the Tim May Show, featuring Clay Hall and my good buddy, Jeff Snook. Guys, we just 12 hours ago, we watched Ohio State get beat by Miami in the college football playoff quarterfinal, a.k.a. the Cotton Bowl. And my first thoughts are Miami came out like a whirlwind, threw some haymakers, and Ohio State gets down 7-0. Then Ohio State's down 14-0 due to a pick six. Jeff, you've watched a lot of football in your life. A pick six changes a lot of things, right? You were sitting in the stands there with the great seats with your son, DJ, who's sitting right across from us here, Deej. I don't know, what was it like at that moment in that game, and did you feel like you had wasted a lot of money?
No, I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking more toward the outcome of the game. But no, anytime you throw a pick six in the red zone, it's a swing, and that was either a 10 or a 14-point swing. So, they're down 7-0. They're driving. Even if that's an incomplete pass, they should end up with 3 points, and you got a 7-3 game instead of 14-0 game. And that is a huge blow. That's a body shot in a boxing match that sends you against the ropes. And it got Miami fans believing they're going to win that game. And by the way, there's more Miami fans there than anybody ever anticipated.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a lot of fans there, and they were confident going into the game. They're confident 7-0. But once that happened, now Ohio State realizes, hey, we're up against a real opponent here. And if we took them lightly, we made a mistake. That was a massive play. Let's face it, that's play of the game. I mean, if that play doesn't happen,
because it changed the whole dynamic of what you thought this game was going to be like.
And I briefly saw the replay, but my son told me that there was a block to be made there.
They were trying to widescreen, which I don't like that play to begin with.
But when you shot
the tight end out there toward the thing, it was a total tip off what was coming, and then the defensive back just came like a. I was going to say a bad word there. He just came really fast. Well, as Deej said, Deej thought because you could block on that play.
Right. You can. That's why you throw it behind the line of scrimmage.
Your son Deej thought Jeremiah Smith whiffed on the block, which he did.
And I did see, but that's why you throw it behind the line of scrimmage on the bubble screen. It's a wide screen, so you can block as the ball's in the air. It's legal, and that's the only play. It's legal to do that without getting the OPI. So that's why they run that play. And when you shoot the tight end out there in motion, you sort of give away where it's going because your trip's already. Yeah. Now you got quads on the left side. They pretty much know where the ball's going. So that's a play of the game. And there's a lot of plays of the game, but that was the play of the game.
Yeah, that changed the whole dynamic. And, of course, Ohio State had chances at the in the second half especially to get back in it. And, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But just, Clay, your overall overwhelming memory from watching that game, what stands out the most? Don't give me your whole list.
Yeah, it's the play you were talking about. I mean, you're like, well, 7-0. All right, Ohio State's moving, like you guys said, and you see a guy jump like that.
Well, they had just hit Jeremiah Smith for like 59 yards down the field. I mean, it was like sudden repay,
No, it's
payback, and then all of a sudden not.
Yeah, I mean, it's as deflating, I'm guessing, for Buckeye Nation as it was for the team. And, there's so many factors. Sayin was sacked 10 times in the last 2 games. It's no coincidence. Those are losses to me. Yeah. It brings up the difference in the 2 quarterbacks, and I'm not going to get on Julian Sayin, who's a Heisman finalist and a 78.4% passer. But Mr. Beck, with his escapability, I just thought time and time again, and he was sacked a couple of times, so he's 7 carries, 23 yards. It's not a big deal, but yes, it is. It's a huge deal. And Buckeye fan, and as reporters, we represent the fans. And the thing that I kept seeing from, these keyboard warriors was Beck is the difference, man. He's getting loose, and Sayin is not, and that's not his game. Yeah. But it's a coordination of he and the offensive line, and they had trouble. Austin Saraveld goes out with a leg problem in the first half. You've got Ian Moore stepping in there. You got the right guard situation.
Padilla took over for Gabe Vincicle.
That changed. Again, the missed field goal. That's and you don't want to go through the whole list, but that's 4 field goals in the last not calendar year, but the last Michigan game in 24 and up to date now. So those are huge misses, because otherwise it's 17 apiece, and who knows what happens at that point. And
let me interrupt you. I agree.
Yeah.
About that. The thing you're outlining here is Ohio State, like it was climbing a mountain, and it would get a foothold and get up a few and then slip and fall, and the safety rope would catch you. That's what it felt like watching Ohio State, because that was a decent drive they had going on near the end of the first half. And then there was a sack that set them back.
Right.
The sacks were so timely for Miami. It was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And then they settled for the 47-yard field goal attempt, and it's wide left. And you're right. That could have been a momentum builder for them going in at halftime. Let's put it that way. If you could have cut it to 14-3, and something on the board to show you showed up.
That's it. And without, I obviously buried the lead. They won up front.
There you go.
Yeah,
this was
both lines of scrimmage.
Right, Clay. Yeah, we talked about earlier this week on Tim's show that this was a line of scrimmage game, and I also threw in it's going to be a time of possession game, where sometimes that's misleading. And I told Matt was with us. I said that there won't be misleading this game, and it wasn't. Miami had 33-27 advantage, but it was a third down game too. So Carson Beck, a lot of his scrambles, which he had not shown before in his entire career, a lot of them came on third down and third and long. That the biggest one was 3rd and 11 there at the end of the game when Ohio State cut it to 17-14, and he was surrounded, and he took off to the left side and got it by a yard. That was one of the plays of the games. And then you look at Ohio State on third down; they're 3 of 10. Miami's 7 of 14.
Right.
And there's another story of the game. You got to win third down on defense, and this was a line of scrimmage game. Ohio State got pushed around on both sides, and they couldn't contain those ends. They give up 5 sacks, and they only got 2 themselves. I thought Matt Patricia should have blitzed more, because when he did, it worked. But I said that all season. That's one thing. Boy, as great as he was this season, it's just like he had an aversion to bringing that 5th and 6th guy. And when you get behind and you got 3rd and long, you have to do it. And the reason is you're looking for a big play there on defense, and it just didn't do it enough for me.
Well, I keep going back to and I think that brings us to, again, that escapability and his willingness to take off. And again, speaking for the fans here and giving them their little shot, maybe that's something fans are pointing to and thinking, we've got to incorporate that in our offense some way. They had Lincoln Kienholz on the sideline, but I never expected him to play last night. But he's your runner. He's on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, especially with the heat that Sayin was under.
I don't have the post game sound from Sayin, because they were in a major. He was in the major press conference with Ryan and Caleb Downs, and we weren't allowed to video it. Don't get me started.
Right.
Okay.
I know. Yeah.
And I wasn't going to download that video because it's such a pain in the butt. But Julian actually said that. Maybe he should have taken a chance here and there. But he was under duress. I was just doing a radio show with Bo Bishop, and even when he wasn't sacked, there was like you said, what'd you call that? The car wash was going on in front of him.
It was like a remake of the IU game.
Blender. Yeah, exactly.
In that sense.
Yeah. So
anyway,
but the thing is, I know stats are for losers, and definitely in this case, but they outgained Miami. It's hard to believe they outgained Miami in that game.
Yeah.
But they did. And
doesn't mean a flip. It's exactly right.
What do you think? What are your thoughts there, Jeff, before we play some sound?
On games like this, I never, especially playoff games and Big Ten championship games, I never blame players. I still don't. When I write stories, I don't blame players. Players.
Thank you. Thank you.
Players are pawns on a chessboard. I blame the chess master who moves the pawns. And I look at this game offensively and defense. Let me start with the defense. Those corners are way too soft all night. I mean, there's third down conversions, and guys are playing off instead of playing aggressive like they do during the regular season a lot. I don't know if they're giving the opponent too much credit or they just didn't want to get beat deep. But I saw this defense play aggressive all season, and they played aggressive against Indiana. Let's go back and, let's look at that game. The defense did not cost them the Indiana game. They're their usual selves. This game, they played soft. They didn't blitz enough, and their coverage was soft. So when you looked at it looked like to me from the very beginning, they're playing an umbrella package. The safeties were deep. The corners were deep. Even on third down, when Carson Beck did have time, he's got guys open on third down when I would have played more press and tight. And if you look at that, Matt Patricia was not aggressive enough yesterday. Offensively, we talked about this all last week. I expected him to go to more max protection, knowing this defensive line is that good and his offensive line has struggled. When that is the case, you have to make an adjustment in your preparation and game plan. And if that means taking one receiver off the field and putting in another tight end, I thought for sure he would do it. So this 5-sack thing does not surprise me one bit. If you're going to run 4 wides out there, you're going to get sacked with backup offensive linemen, with 2 All-Americans on the other side on defense as edge rushers. You got to know that coming into the ball game, and you got to prep for it. So you got to be versatile in your formations and your schemes. You can't go with what always works for you when you play top competition. This isn't Rutgers. This isn't Nebraska. This is a team that can get after you in the line of scrimmage. You should know that from looking at 2 weeks worth of film. So when you know that, you make an adjustment. If it doesn't work, you have another adjustment, a plan B ready. Excuse me. And they just did not have that. So it's not surprised they got sacked 5 times, because you're going with 4 wides all the time, and your offensive linemen are struggling. Excuse me. Only one guy needs a whiff on somebody to get a sack. All 5 of them have to maintain their blocks. So it just didn't do it. I mean, Ryan doesn't adjust that well in certain situations. Now, he's just coming off a national title. So I'm prefacing this. I mean, the guy's a hell of a coach. But they got out-coached last night. They got out-coached on both sides of the football. And that's the bottom line. I don't blame these players. I don't blame Fielding for missing a field goal. You're going to miss them, and he does. But this is not on the players.
Well, how many guys are you going to put up front to block? Then you going to keep 7 in
up
front to block 4 guys?
But when you're getting sacked,
no, I don't buy everything you just said. I mean, it does finally come down to man-to-man battles on the football field that make the difference. If this idea that the players have no blame in it is poppycock.
No, that's not right. If your offensive line is not doing the job blocking a pass rush, then you give them help. You don't just say, "Oh, you missed the block, that's your fault." You give them help to be able to do the job. That's what a coach does, and they're not doing it right. I mean, you keep more guys in and go to max protect, and you keep Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith on the field. And if you have to, you need time in the pocket. They don't run the football very well. Let's face that. If you don't run the football, you have to throw it. So you have to have time to throw it. That's what they do. So, but you have to realize we're not protecting our quarterback, and they should have known it after the Indiana game. They should have known it on this matchup before the game was ever played. Here's going to be our concern. Let's address this concern and make an adjustment before the game is kicked off.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can go there. Like I said, I wanted to see how good this Miami defensive front was. It was very good. Ruben Bain is as advertised. When he would line up like 5-6 yards off the ball out to the edge and just run right by like Phillip Daniels, even when he didn't get to the quarterback and sack, he still made the quarterback move and stuff. I mean, all these things go. I mean, I know there are ways you can deal with this. One of it is maybe a quicker passing game and stuff. One of my favorite plays of the game was Ohio State spreading the field on whatever it was, 4th and 2, 4th and 3 down at Miami into the field, and having both Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith on the field, and Jeremiah Smith draws man coverage because there's no way Ohio State's not going to like sneak or try to run the ball for that first down, but it did. It threw the ball, and Julian saying it's Jeremiah Smith right in stride on a slant touchdown. Suddenly it's 17-14. They're in the game. They had been making, since the first Miami drive, Miami's first drive to a touchdown, they were making plays defensively. They were throttling Miami for the most part defensively, because Miami's only other touchdown was a pick six, and then it settled for a 49-yard field goal. So this idea that they weren't doing anything right on defense is incorrect.
No, I didn't say that. I said they weren't.
Well, you kind of did.
No, I didn't say they weren't doing anything right. I said the cornerbacks were too soft, the safeties were too.
But
deep,
I mean, they were stopping,
and they didn't blitz enough. But the defensive line did not have a good night. I mean, look at Mark Fletcher's numbers. This is a great run defense, and they gashed him a couple times, and that led to converting first downs. But the final drive, Mark Fletcher has that hole over left tackle. I don't know what that gain was,
right?
But that's when they needed the 3 and out right there, and that was just a normal running play with him offset to the right, running to off left tackle. They ran it 2 times in a row. The first time he busted it for about 40 yards. That's on the defensive line. Somebody missed their gaps.
But I agree. Where were the linebackers?
They were inconsistent last night. They were out of position a lot. But my overall theme on defense is they did not play aggressive enough.
Yeah,
if Matt Patricia was honest with you right now, he would agree with me.
He would agree. My only argument is it finally comes down to the players making the play. I mean, I think most of Matt Patricia's calls are sound. You know what I mean by sound.
Last night he had a bad night.
Yeah, I mean, I've always agreed about the corners playing too soft. I've always agreed with you on that.
But
I mean, Mark Fletcher has to leave the game. On that drive, the final drive that really salted it away for Miami. And Marty Brown comes in, and he has that little backwards falling shoot route on a third down, whatever it was, 3rd and 3 or whatever it's 3rd and 4. Where he's falling backwards, falls down, makes the catch, and falls out of bounds. And that was where Arvell Reese was late to the gate on that play, for example. And Marty Brown finished the game for them as the running back, as Mark Fletcher got banged up.
Right. But this is the same roster that went 12-0, had 4 All-Americans, talent from top to bottom, that they were the heavy unanimous pick still to win the national title after losing to Indiana. The players didn't change. When you get in the playoff and you're going against good coaches and good players on the other side of the ball, you need to give them an advantage and put them in the right position to win the game. And that the coaching staff got out coached by Miami's coaching staff, and that there's just you can't twist that around any other way if you watch that.
I'm not twisting it. I'm just saying it finally comes down to the players making plays, though. I mean, just don't.
Well, you got to put them in position to make the right plays.
Golly, you can't be out there like a robot. They're not drones. I mean. I can agree with you on a few of the scheme approaches they had in both offensively and defensively. I thought they called a fairly aggressive game on offense, but you still got to protect.
Well, you got to protect. That's what
your linemen have to protect. It finally comes down to a man-to-man kind of battle.
But what's the definition of insanity? You know what it is: doing the same thing over and over again.
I wouldn't say they were doing that either.
But when you realize in the first 2 series we got a matchup problem, then you change, and they did.
Jeremiah Smith had 7 catches for 157 yards. Their best player on the field.
Circle the 5 next to Julian Saint's number for sacks.
Here's the one,
you're citing stats that didn't win the game.
Carnell Tate. No, I'm just saying they utilized their best players.
They got beat by 10 points.
Carnell Tate was targeted 8 times, but only had 3 catches.
Right. Well,
because Julian Saint was under duress a lot.
Julian Saint got sacked 5 times, harassed.
All I'm saying is if you don't protect up front, it ruins everything. Any other scheme you got going.
And one thing is sacks are cumulative. You could get sacked, and next time he drops back with a clean pocket, he's that ticker's still going off in his head because of a previous
He got
sack.
Viciously sacked early in the first half.
Right. Quarterback, and you could see
first two possessions. Second half, they drove down to touchdowns.
You could see it in Julian the last 2 games that he hadn't been touched all year for the most part. And once those sacks start taking effect, even when he dropped back, his timer was going off a little bit early sometimes, and that's natural.
First 2 possessions, second half, they scored touchdowns.
That's natural.
Even if he was shaken up, the first 2 possessions.
They were shut out in the first half, if you remember. So
we're not talking about. You're saying that what happened in the first half affected his play in the second half. No, I'm saying he had a great start to the second half. What I'm saying.
I'm saying he knew he was facing a good pass rush. He knew his offensive line was struggling. He got rattled in the second quarter. And once you're down 14,
they drove down and had a shot at a
but once you're down
14
to nothing, when you outscored somebody 14-3, you should be ahead. But they were so far behind at that point. Once he got his rhythm going, then they had to be perfect. Your margin of error is gone. And then
that's what Ryan said actually after the game. I agree with you 100%. But the idea that he was shaking so much that he couldn't play anymore effectively.
That's not what I said. I said it rushed. His ticker was going off a little bit earlier. He's rushing his throws maybe at times.
But I'm just throwing facts in there. The facts are they scored 2 touchdowns to start the second half and were in the game. They were in the game. Well, it was 17 to 14.
Last touchdown came with 13 minutes
3.
left, and then they need to be perfect on defense and to get the ball back. And
Correct.
They had a 3rd and 11, which was the play of the game to me.
Correct.
Another one. Besides the pick. So, and that's when they had Beck surrounded and he escaped out to the left. He got the first down. They get that stop there. They're a good chance they're going to win the game.
Hey, let's hear what, for example, Caden Curry had to say about them not being able to get that stop and some other things. Me and several reporters caught up with him after the game. Caden Curry played extremely hard, so I thought the defensive front played hard, but that doesn't mean you had the best night of your life, so to speak. But let's just see what Caden Curry had to say about some things.
Coach Patricia this year, the new add-on, is great, and Coach Johnson, Ryan Day. I mean, there's just so many great people in that Woody, and it's just every day you spend time with them and kind of just grow together, and it's just something I always miss.
Cade, explain the frustration level in that last drive, their last drive. You had a couple of third downs, you could have gotten off the field, et cetera. What's going on out there? What are you thinking as this thing is ensuing?
I mean, it's football, man. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it ended that way. I feel like we could have done a lot more, and I feel like we could have done a lot more throughout the game, not just that one drive. You can't put it on anybody or any person, and I mean, I wish it would have turned out a different way, obviously.
But there do come moments in a game they're desperate, right, where a stop is needed, et cetera. Are you surprised y'all weren't able to get it, I guess, is more the question.
I mean, obviously, being a Buckeye, you always want to do the most, and you want to be the greatest person of the thing that you do. And it just sucks to end it that way. And wish there was more time on the clock, because obviously we thought it would have gone a different way if we had more time.
Caden, in terms of physicality, where does this game rank from this physical game people play? Because it seemed like it was not as physical as you can get out there for you guys on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I play football with a mindset of making every play as violent as I can make it. So, I mean, it's no different game for me. It's always the same.
What did you think of?
Hey guys, we're going to have 2 more questions here.
Of Beck's ability to get out and make some key scrambles there?
I mean, he's a good player. He has experience. He obviously knew where the rush was coming from, and he knew his exit routes, and he did a good job.
So every time a game like this happens, there's inevitably conversation about conferences, Big Ten, ACC, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think this result should have any bearing on how people feel or view the Big Ten?
It's the playoffs, man. I mean, conferences don't really matter in the playoffs. Anything can happen. It's football. I mean, it's the highest level. Everybody plays at the highest level, and they're giving their best shot. So, I mean, I really don't look at conferences when it comes to the playoffs. Anything can happen.
So far, a team with a bye is yet to win a game in the college football playoff. It's 0-5 now and stuff. Did you feel any among your team or yourself, any lack of, where you want to call it, intensity at the beginning of the game? It looked like you were playing hard from the get-go.
You
understand what, it's
yeah,
like,
I mean,
that's what everybody's going to look at.
I mean, obviously everybody wants to think it's the bye and stuff, but I mean, obviously having that one game before definitely gives you a little bit of an edge, but I mean, we can't use that as an excuse. I mean, we're the Buckeyes. We don't take excuses, and we got to come out faster, and we got to come out stronger.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, by the way, Carson Beck is now 36-5 as a starter.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
His experience versus the young kid for Ohio State. And by the way, he's won a number of freshman awards this season, but he's listed as a sophomore. That has
he's a second. You're talking about Julian Sayin?
Yeah.
He's a second-year player. We've had that discussion. He's the same age as Rex Kern was when he won a national championship. So, or same year in school. But he's a redshirt freshman. That's why he won the freshman. You know that, Clay.
Well, why? Yeah, why?
I don't agree with it. But
why does Ohio State list him on their website and on their?
Well,
roster.
He did transfer about this same time. Maybe they've updated it today.
Okay, that's true.
And now he's a sophomore.
And by the way, Fletcher had 90 yards. He was a key in both.
Oh
their
yeah,
wins.
I agree. Fletcher had some runs.
Yeah,
but a lot of the yards came on that last last drive.
Well, that's the same as the A&M game. I mean, they wore them down. The
exactly.
defensive line.
I'm not disagreeing.
That last drive.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what Jeff Snook is saying. I'm just saying
it sure
finally
sounded
comes
like it, didn't it, Clay?
Well, no, because
I love you
this
guys.
idea that coaches win or lose games, I think they can from a scheme standpoint.
I think they do way more than the media ever.
I think though it comes down to you've got to make the players. Yeah,
I appreciate
they're not machines.
No, that's right. I appreciate Jeff's approach, because you put it on the adults, and the players are now,
these guys are getting paid a lot of money.
And the players are now pros for sure. And the coaches are making $9, $10, $11, $12 million. But Tim, you've had kids. I've got 3 sons. If they've played anything, you get fighting mad when somebody criticizes. My son was a high school All-American in lacrosse, but if he gave up a goal, oh my Lord. So I didn't sit with those folks, and on a much smaller scale, but they're still 18 to 22.
Well,
and I appreciate Jeff saying, hey,
let me rephrase one thing. Players make mistakes. Every player makes mistakes, both mentally and physically. That's not what I'm not saying. Of course they do. Jaden Fielding hooked a field goal the other night. He hooked one against Indiana. He makes mistakes. A lot of those are mental, probably for the most part. I'm talking about putting your 22 players in the best position to win a 60-minute game. It shouldn't come down to one play where a player makes a mistake. If you do your job and you out-scheme the other guy, it overcomes players' mistakes. And they didn't out-scheme the other team by any means. It was just the opposite. They failed to prepare for this ball game. Maybe they underestimated that defensive line. It sure looked like it. But you have to compensate for the other team's strengths and weaknesses, and I didn't see that last night on either side of the ball. I was shocked at their offensive game plan. I'm not giving that offensive line help and keeping more blockers in. Now, they had C.J. Donaldson in the game, which helped somewhat. But you have to – once you realize after 2 series, hey, we got a fight on our hands, that defensive line's pretty good. Now you have to talk on the coaches on the headsets and say, let's go to this. We got it ready, and they didn't do it.
They use their tight ends to help. On occasion, definitely on a lot of occasions. Dude, I mean, what do you want me to say to you?
Well,
I mean, you're throwing it out there like every play. You're literally throwing it out there like every play Ohio State called was wrong.
I didn't say that.
You're literally like every defensive.
Clay, did I say
no, no.
What are you saying then on specific plays?
No.
They called the wrong play.
I'm telling
you're throwing this blanket statement out there, and then you're acting like you're not.
I look at the result when you get beat 24-14, and you're a 9.5-point favorite. You did something wrong, and I'm not putting this on players because I watched the ball game, and the offensive game plan was not good. The defensive game plan was not good, and I didn't see the proper adjustments when they needed to make them early on in that second quarter. Now, let's face it, the pick six flip this game. But Ohio State is a better team than Miami. Miami's got some strengths, those defensive ends.
Yeah.
And they got a running back. And they got Malachi Toney, who didn't do anything. So, Carson Beck made some plays of his life with his legs he hadn't made before. He threw for 128 yards. Now, if you told me to throw him for 128 yards,
right,
and Julian threw for, what did he throw, 240-something, whatever it was, 250, they're going to win the ball game. But
287.
Is that what he had? 287.
It was 22 of 35 with 2 picks.
The big number is like we talked about, third down and the sacks. You just can't give up 5 sacks and be harassed all night, and you got to compensate for that. And if you got offensive linemen struggling, you help them out. That's all I said. That's very basic. And
that wasn't all you said, but anyway.
Well, that's the principal notion or real fact that Jeff points out, that after 2 series, it's evident what's going on here.
Correct. I agree with that 100%.
They are bringing, they are.
But like I said, Clay, Ohio State got some things fixed They had 2 nice touchdown drives in the second half.
No
It's a
question.
And
No
it's a
question.
17-14 game.
But it's a 60-minute game.
It's
So, I mean, you know.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, you've covered this game for 40-some years. I've never once heard you say Ohio State staff got out coached.
No,
have you ever said that?
Yeah, I've said that.
You
I've
put
said
it on the players.
You don't pay attention. See, you argue like my wife. I mean, if you heard me talking,
he doesn't watch this.
If you heard me talking after the Michigan game last year, if you saw what I wrote after the Michigan game last year, for example,
Stevie Wonder could have seen that. Let's face it.
No, I think at times on New Year's Eve, Ohio State did get out coached. I thought
31-0.
I am agreeing with you about the protection. But you know what? They got some things straightened out enough to score 2 touchdowns on drives, not on pick sixes or anything.
Yeah.
The pick six changed the dynamic of the game irrefutably. And because, like I said, otherwise, going into the fourth quarter, Miami had scored 1 touchdown and a field goal.
I just think, it's like Bill Parcells always said, you are what your record says you are. The result.
There you go. Now you're going to.
No, but I'm saying the result is what the result was. 5 sacks,
I agree, 100%.
a 10-point loss, and it's hard to defend them it's the same players they've had all year.
I'm not blaming I'm not just blaming the players. That's the point.
But when I see specific things like the soft coverage and not blitzing enough, and I don't put that on the cornerback. He's executing the coverage that was called, and it's just like on offense. These offensive linemen are trying their damnedest to block the guy in front of them. That's all.
There are throughout the time I've been covering football, every year, I can give you examples. There are players who they want a certain coverage on a play. The defense coaches do, and the players make their own decision. I'm not going to get up on that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Then you're not coaching them properly if they're ignoring what your call
No, I'm just saying it's not always a coach's call when something goes like that. Players play hunches, just like that the cornerback for the defender did for Miami last night on that pick six. They play hunches and go for it. And or do the opposite.
A lot of this is prep work, and a lot of this takes place not on the.
In fact,
game.
that Arvell Reese was late getting to the scene on that little pass I talked about on the third down play to Marty Brown.
Right.
They kept that drive alive when it was still at midfield. That's the player was just slow in the uptake.
Well, Clay, here's one thing I've always said in covering college football for as long as I have since 1981. Is these games aren't won and lost with the coach on those 60 minutes during those 3 hours. They're not at all. They're the week prep, and in this case, a 2-week prep. What are you doing in those 2 weeks, and what do we expect to see? Here's how we're going to counter this. Here's our game plan. That's when games are won or lost. If you really know this game, it's the film work and what we expect to see, how we're going to attack this area. It's not the 60 minutes. It's not.
Do you think the Keontae Scott?
Of course it's not. Everybody knows that. That's like saying the sun is hot.
Not everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that preparation is the key, that coaching is the key.
So now that they lost by 10
have these guys ready to play.
So now that they lost by 10 points, who prepared better?
They lost by 10 points. Miami scored a touchdown with 30 seconds
well,
left.
they gave them that touchdown. They were trying to
take that away.
You and I just had this discussion in the car that the final score isn't always indicative of what the game was like.
Absolutely.
We had a long discussion.
But it was 17 to 14 games. So
it was a 17-14 game.
So which staff, Tim, prepared their team better last night?
No, Miami.
Okay.
Miami made the plays.
I didn't know you'd say that.
Miami made the plays, but it was their players that went out and then made the plays. Carson Beck scrambling is Carson Beck making a play. Not necessarily he was schooled on, become a scrambler this week. Well, what he was schooled on was, man, when they turn their back on you, go get those 5 yards.
Well, once he scrambled the first, second, or third time, maybe you better start spying him.
Correct.
They never did.
Correct. I'm not arguing that.
He's not Marcel Reed, but once he burned you once or twice.
Yeah. Those are the kind that cut the deepest, is when a guy's not supposed to be able to beat you with his feet. Let's hear what Matt Patricia had to say as he was leaving the stadium last night. I caught up with him. Down to that last drive, you got to get the stop. How just sort of for you frustrating was that? I mean, a couple of third downs, et cetera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Obviously a really hard drive. Give credit to Miami. They did a good job. They hit a couple plays, and I think those guys at the end, were really doing a good job. So give them credit. Obviously, we got in a situation where we had to kind of let them score and get it in the end zone to give ourselves a chance there at the end. So, but wish we could have gotten stopped before that.
Just one in a nutshell, how fulfilling was this season for you? I know it's real early here, right after a bitter loss, but yeah, you've had a rebirth. I mean, it feels like you feel like that.
Yeah. Well, obviously, hard, because right now I'm thinking about Buckeye Nation and you know how hard we just wanted to win for them and how hard we work. But I am really grateful for these guys, these players, these coaches, and this community for just being so nice to me and accepting me and my family and taking us in. And it just has been a lot of joy to be around these kids and watch them grow. And they've really gotten so much better. They're still a young group, they really are. And so it's been a lot of fun to watch them, mature through the year. And obviously we're just trying to do everything we can to, help them through their future.
Are you coming back next year?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We'll see what's.
You got a contract? Yeah.
We're always trying to just make sure we can stay where we're at. So.
I really like Matt Patricia. So let's get to him real quick, Jeff, because that's what you're alluding to. Is there things you definitely would have changed from what you saw the last couple of games?
No, the defense played outstanding in the Indiana game. Make no mistake, they played well enough to win the Indiana game. It's one of their best games of the year.
Yeah, they gave up a touchdown drive in the second half of that
one
game
touchdown
when they had the lead.
I'm talking about this game.
I know.
This game.
I'm just saying.
But you ask him about his rebirth or as a career there. You could ask him about the soft coverage they had all night long. See what he would have said. Right?
I didn't think it was soft coverage all night long. See, I don't agree. See, you throw these blankets out there, and then I can show you examples of it wasn't soft coverage all night long.
Key points it was. I mean,
key points. They turned into key points because they had the soft coverage. But go ahead.
I mean, did anybody ask him about Carson?
Such
Beck?
a smart aleck, man.
Did anybody ask him about Carson Beck escapability? That just curious what he would have said to that. Like we didn't expect it, or we haven't seen it, or anything like that.
Well. No, there's I don't know how to explain this to you. Some things are obvious that you don't necessarily have to have explained to you because clearly he surprised them.
Well, some of the best questions are the obvious ones, but you're not asking the question to hear the question. You're asking the question to hear what
Clay.
Matt Patricia.
I put up with his crap all the time.
How Matt
Here's
Patricia
what I would have
answers
done.
it. I want to hear what Matt Patricia says.
I didn't have much
about it.
time. There was a band for some reason. There was something on the PA playing extremely loud there and stuff, and he wanted to get out the door.
I thought he came in with a 2-year deal. Do you have 1 year?
Yeah,
deal?
I don't know what I would think it would have been a multi-year deal, but I'm sure there are clauses if he gets a chance to get back to the NFL, he might be able to take that. But I think he's enjoyed himself extremely this year.
Absolutely.
In the rebirth aspect
he's
of
great
things.
at what he does. And Matt Wilhelm, we talked about the other day. I just said the one thing I saw all season long that I wish I'm saying all season.
Gotcha.
Repeatedly. I wish he'd throw more blitzes in there. I mean, they'd have shut Texas out if he blitzed more. The Illinois just let him go right down the field those last 2 drives. The game was out of reach, and Altmaier stood back there with all the time in the world. And he picked his spots, and I wish he'd have blended more in there because every time he used it, they worked. His blitz rate was very effective.
I agree.
He just didn't do it enough, and Matt agreed with that the other day.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But that Texas game never should have come down to 14-7 with them in midfield. That was a 21-0 game, and if he blitzes a little more and they let cut Julian St. Louis, they still won the ball game. But look how things ended up. It's so ironic. Texas, that opener, they're deflated. Arch Manning's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Look what happened yesterday. As a career game, almost 400 total yards. They go on a high, beat Michigan, fly back to Austin. They didn't need a plane to fly back. Look at Ohio State flying back to Columbus last night.
Middle of the night.
Isn't it amazing how things turn around, though, at the end of the year?
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Well,
they didn't make
Ohio
the
State flying back from Texas.
Yeah, both teams are 12-2, but it's
different.
Well,
Texas
unbelievable.
lost 3.
What'd you take, Clay? What's your take
by
on
the way, I love the fireworks and combustibility between 2 great friends. I love the I think Snook is your next sidekick, man. I think yeah. I think I would watch this this little
tete-a-tete.
I was about to say tete-a-tete. Or
he's one of my best friends. I think
wait a minute, there's always a butt.
I think the world of him.
He's big on butts.
I respect. There's nobody I respect more in this profession, Clay. I mean, I've known him for 40 years.
I know that. Yeah.
There's nobody I respect more. But he and I've had it. We've had an ideological difference on college football when it comes to blame or credit for 40 years, probably. And I've just been I spent a lot of time around coaches like Tim has, and I just always I've noticed bad game plans over the years. It's infinitely. I had to see it. I can't even mention them all, but I was fortunate to cover 3 great coaches along the way, starting Bobby Bowden, Steve Spurrier, and some other guys along the way that just won championships. And, you know, you get spoiled by how good they are. So when something goes sideways, and let's face it, Ryan Day's not 50 years old yet. There's things he doesn't
44.
know. He's 44.
Oh, I think he just turned 45, man.
Right. But, you know, I've seen things in the past he does. And I don't think he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He's a young guy. I think he needs to surround himself with another veteran assistant on the offensive side of the ball. I really do. And I think he ought to hire somebody like that. I thought Chip would give him some things.
That's a great thought.
I thought Chip
I
would
thought
give him
he
some
should have brought back Coach Wilson. Help me there. Kevin Wilson, who was 2 years at Tulsa, and his son
Indiana
played
head
for
coach.
him. Yep.
Right, former Indiana.
Yeah.
He needs a guy a little bit older than him that has been around a little bit that can help him on certain concepts, including the run game, blocking, you know, the offensive line, everything. But he's got a line coach to do that. But, you know, Ryan is an expert in route concept and passing game. That's his background. He needs somebody to help him between the work on the run game and run short yardage and red zone. You know, Urban's expert at it. And, you know, I'll put this out there. I've asked Urban about this. I've asked why he would not offer suggestions to Ryan in the past 6 years on his struggles. And he basically told me, Jeff, that's out of place. That's not my place to do that. I need to be asked. Coaches don't volunteer information to other coaches unless they're asked. It's an insult.
Right.
And I wish he would lean on him because he's got a great resource there. Now, bear in mind, I'm going to couch this because Urban always had a running quarterback in third.
Yeah.
That's why they're always top 10 red zone. So they have a different philosophy on their all, you know, what they want out of the quarterback. And other than
wait a minute, quarterback run was the default button on Urban's.
right.
On Urban's
But
console.
let's face it, when they get in the red zone, they were rarely stopped because of it. And that's why they were in the top 10 every year of his 7 years at Ohio State, top 10 red zone offense. And, you know, even when they had Dwayne Haskins 2018, who's a drop back thrower, that was out of Urban's mold. That wasn't his mold. That was Ryan's mold.
That's right.
And he set every Big Ten record there was that year. You can't argue with it.
Yeah, except Dwayne did run against Maryland that one year to save their bacon. Hey, let me ask Jeff something, Clay, before you.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing of College Park there.
Do you see Julian saying being that guy? I don't mean Braxton Miller or JT Barrett, but do you see him having the ability to at least give you that next year? A little bit of that.
You're asking
I'm talking to Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me? I thought you were asking Clay.
No,
I think he is who he is. He's a drop back thrower. His strength is reading the defense, his intelligence, his accuracy, his timing, coming to the line of scrimmage. He knows where he's going to go with the ball. He's going to be an All-American quarterback. He is fourth in the Heisman this year. He's not a problem. He's the guy you want.
But do you see
Ryan wants that
them being able
thrower.
to coax him into like the run aspect of things a little bit more?
I don't see. Bear in mind one thing. They're never going to run design plays for him to run the ball like you would with JT or Braxton Miller.
You can always run a boot, though.
But when he drops back and say he's got a clean pocket and he steps up into it, and that is clear in front of him on certain down and distances, he needs to take off just to keep that defense honest. You know, if you do that once or twice, all of a sudden your linebackers aren't dropping as deep because it's a threat, just like last night. Carson Beck, those aren't designed. Those are making something out of nothing. And if you do that,
he had a couple of QB draws, though. I mean, there were a couple of QB draw runs.
But I'm saying
there.
if you do, and they'll never call that Julian saying, let's face it, he's not a QB draw quarterback. But if you do that a couple of times in a game, now your linebackers, their drop is not as deep on a route and so forth. And you don't want to do it. See why they don't want to do that against Rutgers and other teams. You don't want him to get dinged up or hurt.
Right.
But I'm saying in big games, when he steps up, there was a couple times last night, his eyes need to look down for, hey, I can take off here. And you got to make that decision like snapping your fingers.
Right.
You can't delay, especially when you're getting sacked. So when that pocket collapses, sometimes there's a hole between the tackles up the middle. They're coming from the edge. And that's what they were doing last night. There's a couple openings there he had that would have helped, but he wasn't thinking that way. And when you fall behind, you don't think that way. You think I got to throw the ball to catch us up.
Yeah, I agree.
There was one clear play when he eluded late in the game, and he just threw it out of bounds when it looked like there was 5 to 8 or 10 yards. And I guess I think we were down the final seconds or whatever, but he's trying to save time there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he chunked it.
Yeah. I just think they definitely need to draw that out of him. That's why I asked Ryan, going into the Michigan game, before the Michigan game, that did he feel like Julian felt now confident enough, free enough that if he has to go make a play with his feet, for example, he will do. He made a couple plays with his feet against Michigan, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
But the other night, a great pass rush just changes everything for your defense, but for the offense. And I think quarterbacks do get frazzled in the sense of they're trying to survive, and then it takes that little bit of an edge. And then, like you're saying, well, wait a minute, if I step up, whatever, let me throw the ball to get myself out of this. Some players think, like you were talking about with him, some players think that way, and some players think, I'm going to use my feet and go 8 yards. They don't necessarily see that big picture, that what that run does to the defense. I mean, and I don't think he quite got there this year.
Right.
But I think if he watches this video, he's going to get there.
Well, when you mentioned great pass rush, what the best weapon against a great pass rush is a great running game, and they don't have it.
Well,
and last night they needed it.
That's true.
A consistent running game.
I agree with that. 100%.
It's just like attacking the Packers and Micah Parsons. The way you attack them is you run right at them. You don't give him a chance to sack the pass.
I agree 100%.
And it's the same with Myles Garrett. You can go on down the list. These two edge rushers were all Americans. They're great players. They're first round picks. Knowing that, you attack them by blocking them and pushing them off the ball, not letting them attack you in passing situations. But this is a passing offense, and that's my point. This is a passing offense. It always will be, as Ryan Day is head coach.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change. So they got to work on the run game. They need help on the run game. They need an experienced coach to help them on the run game. And that's why I thought Chip would come in. And you're not going to have a running quarterback with Will Howard. Like last year, they struck gold with Will Howard.
Bingo. And Quinshon Judkins and Trayvon Henderson and Chip Kelly, who was a big-time run guy.
Right.
So I'm very curious about what he's going to do at the offensive coordinator spot, because a lot of that has to finally emanate from there.
Huge decision.
And but man, I know Ryan, by the way, Clay, you know him. He wants to have that run game. He wants it. He will tell you.
But you
got to get the pieces together, and they weren't together this year.
You're right. They ran it so well last year because they had the
difference for them.
The Jimmies and the Joes, or the better backs, or whatever you want to call it. Ohio State ended up with, because of the 42 yards in sacks, they ended up with 45 yards rushing. Bo had 11 carries, 55.
Yeah.
I look at last year, Clay, and you talk about the Jimmies and the Joes. Let's go to the Penn State game. They're on their own 2-yard line. The game's on the line. They're up 20-13. What'd they do? They handed it to Quinshon Judkins, who ran over people for about 5 successive times until they got to the 50-yard line. Will took it around left end to end the game with a slide and a first down motion. Then I look at the Texas game in the playoff. They got a 4th and 2. The game is tied. They're driving in the fourth quarter. And what do? Will Howard runs a lead play over left tackle. You would have scored if he doesn't trip and run over his feet. And those two players gave them the extra edge to win 2 very important games.
True.
They don't have those 2 players this year. Julian's a drop back quarterback. They don't have backs that really can break that type of tackle consistently. C.J. Donaldson's pretty good, but he's no Quinshon Judkins. And that's what they were missing this year on offense.
I agree. And like you just pointed out a while ago, I agree with a lot of stuff you say. I don't always agree with everything, which
you like the restaurants I pick out for the most part.
I absolutely do that. You know that. And my buddy Bruce Martin, by the way, I know I'm not sure know if y'all are friends, but he does a good job on that too. But what I want to say this is the lesson on what that run game means is right in your face with Miami's last drive to a touchdown.
Right.
Marty Brown. Who ever heard of Marty Brown?
He's listed as Charmar Brown.
Yeah. He comes in, replaces a banged up Mark Fletcher in the midway through that drive, and boom. They didn't skip a beat. They ran the ball for the most part to win the football game, or to ice the football game. Agreed? That should be a lesson like you're talking about.
Well, back to my previous subject, Clay, a lot of times I catch Tim just wanting to get a sub or fast food for dinner.
No, not really.
Back in the day. And I said, listen, man, you live once. Let's go sit at a bar. Let's have it where a nice wine list, a nice entree, a salad. It's healthier. The experience is better. I've tried to coach him doing that over the years.
I want to travel with you.
Hey, what was that place we went to tonight? Arc? But that's the name of it, the Ark.
What city you talking about?
The other night before we were waiting for Ohio State to show up at the Hannah.
Oh yeah, we found a dive bar, Clay, downtown Dallas.
It was good though.
Oh yeah.
They were playing salsa music. It was, we walked in. We were the only two people there, and
there was a curious group over on our left playing pool. I'll just leave it at that.
I like spicy wings, but I was guzzling water and beer with every wing I ate. It was so spicy.
I had nachos that were built like pizzas. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you find a haunt and it comes through time after time after time, every time Channel 6 would go to the Fiesta Bowl, we had this place, and that, which was incredible Mexican food. With no Tex-Mex here. This is the authentic.
Authentica.
Mike Jones and I would hit that. And the other was when Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, first stop coming out of the airport is a little hole in the wall that has their own little flaky onion rings to go with everything else. The oysters, they're cracking them in the corner.
Yeah.
And with a draft. Oh my gosh. I was like, Mike, I'm never leaving you.
Well, he turned me on to this place in New Orleans called the River Shack, which is in the bend of the river, but it's like southwest of downtown, or whatever. You follow the dike around, and as Jeff pointed out way back then, this is back in the 90s. The beer is like half the price of Bourbon Street. The food is at least as good.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans.
Cool place.
You and I found some restaurants off New Orleans or off Bourbon Street, 5 to 12 blocks, and those are the best restaurants. Yes. You don't go down where the tourists go. There's so many mom and pop, really good restaurants in New Orleans, but you got to get off the beaten path, almost like every other city.
Yeah. Like the last time,
O'Brien's is worth one hurricane, but that's about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the last time we were in New Orleans, I called my good friend in the business, Ed Daniels, who has worked at every station there, an incredible, just a very talented guy who is now gone. But he told us how he survived and his family during Katrina, because you would get in a canoe and you better have a gun with you. And he entertained our whole crew for an entire evening on what that was really like. I tell you, the people you meet in this business, that makes it, I think, almost as good as the games.
Yeah, I did a good story. Who was the kid who was from New Orleans on that 90 on that 07, was it 017 when they went? Yeah, the 017 that played game. LSU. But I can't remember the name of the kid on Ohio State that was from New Orleans, but his family and all they went through and stuff,
Right.
It's still hard to believe when you go there now to think what that place looked like after Katrina. It was like a disaster area. But anyway, real quick, before we go, I wanted to play Caden McDonald. I got caught up with him as he was walking out, headed across the field to go to the buses last night, and he's ended up being maybe my favorite player on this team this year. I like the big guys. I mean, the big defensive guys who pour their heart and soul into a game and get beat up, and
the big ugly,
and they make the difference.
Keith Jackson would say.
Yeah, Caden McDonald made such a difference this year in so many ways. He even made plays last night that were pretty cool. But let's get to just this little sound with him real quick. Caden McDonald, unanimous All-American, etc. What did you take from this game tonight? This loss to Miami. You guys poured your heart and soul into this thing.
Well, I'll say, first and foremost, I want to thank God, and I want to thank my teammates. We fought to the end, and we didn't come out on top, but I'm still proud of everybody.
Right. I wanted to ask you that. When you put that much effort into something, because you were out there balling from beginning to end, you know what I'm saying? And you come up short. Is that a life lesson? How would you describe it, Caden?
I feel like I don't regret anything this whole season. Never a game where I felt like I didn't give it my all, so there's no regret.
Yeah. And that last drive they had, how frustrating was it not to get that stop? Number one defense in the country, but...
Well, we kind of called a play where we just let them in. We could have hit it, but we just let them in because we thought offense was going to score. Yeah. But we only had one timeout, so it's like nothing really we could do.
Gotcha. Are you you're back next year, aren't you?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you, my man.
It's funny. And you know what? I don't expect him to come back. I expect him to I expect him to move on. I mean,
Is he graded in the top 20?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, I think a lot of people think he's the best defensive tackle, just pure defensive, A-gap defensive tackle in the possibility for this draft. If in fact he opts to come out, I'd be surprised he doesn't. Caleb Downs, you got figures gone, right?
Those run stoppers inside are just so valuable in the NFL, and they get drafted higher in their value a lot of times.
So but just because they're so rare,
right.
It's kind of like quarterbacks. I mean, you don't hit on every quarterback.
Well, they give you versatility on your defense. You go 3-4, 4-3. They're going to be valuable, inside on the nose technique or off. But that's why they're so valuable. It's just like corners in the NFL.
Yeah, but let's summarize here real quick. In the sense of, this was the number one, like I just alluded there. I'm not sure Caleb Downs actually liked my question in the actual press conference. Y'all the number one defense in the country going in, and I'm paraphrasing now what I asked him, but pretty much, I mean, y'all couldn't get that stop when you needed it. I mean, it always comes down to, we can look back at first, second, third quarter, fourth quarter. Do you make the plays that actually win the game for you? And Ohio State, offensively and defensively, couldn't do that in last night. Agreed?
Well, of course. They got beat.
I know. Well, let's make sure you agreed, because we argue about everything.
No, I go by the end result. The result's the result.
Okay.
You know?
No, I was trying to be funny there, and you're getting all,
saying, you're
getting your dander up again.
A football game is not like looking at a painting where it's subjective and you like it and I don't like it, or it's 5 and people like it and 5 people don't. It's a result.
But you can still dislike the way it was painted, or like it.
On a big loss, a lot of times I like asking players, "Hey, were you happy with your game plan going into the game? Was that the right thing?" And just to see their answer. Not 9 times out of 10, they say, "Yeah, we had a good game plan." It's on the players. But every once in a while, you get that answer if they're honest. No, we should have done more of this.
Yeah.
But
sometimes guys just miss their gap. Sometimes guys don't fill their gap.
But truth be known,
is that on the coach?
But truth be known, Clay, I'd have guys come off the podium back when there was a bowl game or whatever, or when I'm at their lockers. It used to be open lockers all the time. At lockers, they'd answer the question, and before I'd walk away, you know what they do? They grab me and say, "Hey, off the record, that game plan was horse bleep." I mean, the number of times. Dion used to tell me with the Seminoles. Dion, no, it's off the record. I honored their.
Well, so what good did it do you?
Well, I knew that going forward.
Exactly.
That's information. You know how you shelve information that big head of yours that's valuable going on. Yeah. Dion did that a lot for me at Florida State. He was honest. And then at the point where he got to know me, at the end of the relationship, his senior year, said, "No, we had a bad game plan."
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Charlotte Springs grabbing me. He ran off the field to Rose Bowl in 1996 when they beat Jake Plummer, 97 Rose Bowl. He goes, "You can print it now, Mr. May. I'm the best quarterback in the country."
All right. Did he say Mr. May or did he say sir?
He said Mr. May.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Charlotte Springs is one of my favorite players of all time. I've got
so let me ask you guys.
Of those,
Miami, if I'm not mistaken, lost to Louisville and SMU.
Yep.
They didn't play in the ACC title game. They're in the Final Four. Are they the favorite to win it?
Are they the Ohio State of this year?
I wouldn't say that. Let's see what Indiana does in a couple hours. Play. Oregon's up 3-0 right now as we film this. I think there's a lot of teams left that could win it. It's pretty even now.
Yeah, I agree.
The betting favorite just got eliminated last night. Let's face it. Now Indiana's the favorite, and they could lose today. And this is a crapshoot right now. I mean, just think of Carson Beck going against his old team now if they beat Ole Miss. How about that storyline? I mean, they shoved him out the door, but they couldn't wait for him to leave. And now they're going to be facing him if they beat Ole Miss. I mean, that's fascinating.
But George is good at shoving guys out the door. They tried to get Stetson Bennett to leave or get lost 3 times.
I don't remember that.
And then he won 2 straight national
championships. I thought they loved him.
He was a walk. No, heck no, not early. He wasn't anybody's dream prototypical quarterback, national championship quarterback. All he does is lead them to 2 national championships in a row.
But I will say one thing, Clay, with those 2 defensive ends, with Malachi Toney, with Mark Fletcher, and if Carson Beck does not commit turnovers, that team could win it all. They're that talented. They're that well coached. Yeah. It's funny. Mario Cristobal, he committed coaching malpractice several times a few years ago with clock management, timeout management. I don't know if you saw the Georgia Tech game at home. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
They were clinics.
And it's like coaching karma, football karma. Some guys get it together, and it would be something for him to win a title after they haven't even sniffed one in 23 years.
That's it. Last one was 0-1, as you say.
But he's recruited really well, and he's got talent at the right places. But you got those defensive ends where you can dominate the line of scrimmage and
Man,
get a
that
team
just makes
behind the
sense.
sticks and bring them after him. You got a big advantage. You got Tony's a game breaker. Fletcher's steady, and he could have been a Buckeye.
Mhm.
And then you got Beck. That's the whole key. Can Carson Beck just manage the game and not commit turnovers? And that's what he did last night.
Hey,
And
last
there- and
thoughts,
the-
Clay.
the-
Give me some last thoughts, man. Go ahead. You can
well,
start with that.
I would just say Miami's hungrier than Tim May at a free buffet. I mean, they are going.
Well, and back in the day, you're saying, yeah.
No, you're very svelte right
I'm
now.
trying to stay around 200 pounds. That's my goal in life until they put me under.
He's on intermittent fasting.
And if you,
it's going to be, it's always a huge shuffle when you end the season. Who's staying? Who's going? Sayin's coming back. Your best receivers coming back.
Chris Henry's coming in.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Chris Henry Jr.
Yeah, no doubt.
Going to be a sophomore.
Yeah.
Isaiah West.
The defense lost a ton last year. Came back, played even better, I guess. Statistically, didn't get it done in the final game, and so you've got some remakes there. But Ohio State gets players. Do they need to get angry? I don't know.
Well,
I tweeted last night. In my early years here, it would always be when you had a postseason loss. Well, they're in the South. They're bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, the Big Ten has come so far, I think, so fast, and maybe Indiana will win it, and that's their third straight. We'll see. But
pretty interesting.
You're talking about Ohio State in 2026. You two guys being in Columbus, what you got to look for the next 10 days and stay on top of this is who is Ryan Day turning to help him on offense. He's got one open position, right? So he's going to name somebody, and that's a storyline there that you know.
Of course,
be all over.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we talked about earlier. I mean, I agreed with you. You got to bring Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was the right guy at the right time, in my opinion, for that football team.
Right.
Originally, it was going to be O'Brien. And he got the Boston College job. Serendipity led to Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly got hired by Northwestern.
Right, that was weird. One thing I've noticed of the most effective football staffs in college football have an age disparity. They have young guys and old guys. Those are the most effective staffs. I've seen all young staffs, and they don't know what they don't know. I've seen two veteran staffs that Bobby Bowden used to have. He needed young blood.
Yeah.
And Ohio State needs an older guy.
Need some old heads.
Yeah, Matt Patricia has all the experience in the world on defense. They need a little veteran guy on offense to help Ryan Day take something off his plate and give him some ideas he doesn't have already. And that's what they're missing. They need a little age there, and they need a little experience.
I guarantee you,
and I don't know who's out there.
That is what he's seeking. I'll be surprised if he doesn't go after that.
Right. And I don't know who I off the top of my head, I can't suggest anybody, but there's somebody out there that he might be in the NFL right now, just like Patricia had been.
Exactly. I think that sprinkle from the NFL has been good, like with Chip Kelly. I know Chip Kelly was at UCLA and Oregon, but he also had been in the NFL. I just think it just makes you think differently. And I think that's a good thing. And we'll see if, in fact, Ryan Day heads that way. Hey, Clay, I'll be back home soon, man.
Yeah, brother. Safe travels to you both. I know y'all will shake hands and come out fighting once again.
Thanks,
Well, no, we fight while we're shaking hands.
I'm serious. Jeff Snook is your next guy. I still got.
I don't think he can afford me, Clay.
Exactly. Well, Clay was tough enough. Hey,
you busted the budget with Clay?
Shoot.
Yeah. Oh,
shoot.
Yeah. Clay, we've got that inside joke still going for us, right?
Yeah, we do.
We do. To the grave.
Yeah, we do.
But ladies and gentlemen, for Clay Hall and for
enjoyed
buddy Jeff Snook, who I've totally enjoyed having on this podcast regularly for three days.
You learn more with a little bout, a little give and take, a little punching, a little jabbing, a little.
Yeah, but you know stuff too, man. You know people and you know stuff. I'm not saying I totally disagree with you on everything, but sometimes we do. But that's life. But we're gonna go get some lunch here in North Dallas.
And Clay, when I order for lunch, why are you ordering that? Order this. That's nobody orders that here.
Yeah.
Tim has. Yeah. We all get to a certain age and we have those ways,
Yeah.
and they're ingrained.
I got in my salads now, man.
Oh, he's stuck in those ways. Absolutely.
So has anybody had a steak or barbecue or anything resembling that?
We had a good meal the other night. Tim,
okay.
What'd you get?
I had a steak. I had a salad.
Yeah, a big top side. No, I had some pad thai that was excellent. My son he had some fish and chips, and those three fillets were whoppers, and they were delicious. Beer battered. You like that?
Oh yeah.
It was a good place. What was that called?
That was a chain. That was called
I know, it was
Yard
still
House. There's one in Columbus.
It was still good.
We were limited, Clay, out here. We didn't venture out of the hotel too much. So
no, I get it.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Well, if you can walk down the street, get
Tim did share a bottle of wine with me. We had a good bottle of cab, and he had one glass, and that's all I asked him. When I get a bottle, I say, "We have a glass?" And he goes, "Yep." I can finish the rest. You have to have one glass. I don't want to say I drank the whole thing.
I'm a man. I'm 40. I can drink it. Anyway. Hey, thanks, fellas. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this has been the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall with special guest star Jeff Snook. We'll see you then.
Shh. By the way, Clay has left the room. I wanted to let you folks in on a real bargain out there in the world of simulator golf. The Back Nine Golf, which is located at 2820 Fishinger Road in Upper Arlington, has a hell of a holiday box available to you right now. The value is nearly $300, but your price is $150 if you jump online. That's almost 50% off if you jump online at Columbus at theback9golf.com. That's their email address. Their website is theback9golf.com/Columbus-upper-Arlington-OH/ That's a long address, but just write it down a couple times watching it. And you can also call them at 614-362-7888, parentheses PUTT, PUTT. But the bottom line is one of the new ultra modern simulators that you can find in the greater Columbus area. And it's really right there in the middle of Upper Arlington. I know Tito Thidoff and I hopped in there the other day. I think it was 16 degrees outside. There was snow and ice everywhere, and we played Pebble Beach. And we did it in less than an hour. So it's one of the great bargains going out there. And with this holiday box, you get 1 month of Birdie membership. You get Back Nine branded golf balls. You get cozy Back Nine beanie, and you get premium Back Nine towel. So that's a hell of a deal because basically it's unlimited golf. It's 24/7. You get a code to get you in the door, and then you can go from there. And it's definitely fun. It's the premises are pristine. I know we had a great time. We even played closest to the hole, a few shots on number 7, famed number 7 short par 3 at Pebble Beach the other day, and had a great time doing it. So if you're looking for that last minute gift for a golfer that you love, or yourself that you love, that you're a golfer, nothing wrong with giving yourself a gift at this time of the year. That's the Back Nine Golf holiday box, and it's only a limited time. And there, as you can imagine, there are only a few available. Quantities are tight. So check in at theback9golf.com.